Hi everyone. So in the last video, we established that the Finch has a bunch of sensors on it in sort of some of these holes and extrusions here. So what we'd like to do in this video then is to investigate exactly what the sensors tell us that we can use in our code. So like, for example, the light sensor here tells us how bright it is. So what exactly does the Finch tell us in response to light levels? Does it say, oh, it's bright in here, or oh, it's dark in here, or does it do something else? Likewise for the proximity sensors and the temperature. So let's check it out. So what we'll do is we just have to do a little bit of research and investigate the sensors before we get into using them. So what we'll do over here, we'll go over to the scratch, and if we click on more blocks, these are all the black Finch blocks here. And what you can see is sort of a list of the sensors sort of below here in the lower sort of maybe 60% that tell us stuff about the sensors. And so for example, all I have to do is if I tick on Finch left obstacle or Finch right obstacle like that, then immediately up here above the cat, again the cat isn't really being used here, just sort of here like hello cat, but it's not really being used. But in either case you can see sort of the variables being reported in real time. So they're both reading false at the moment. So the left obstacle and the right obstacle, again, here's the left obstacle sensor, there's the right obstacle sensor. They're both reading false. So why would that be? Well, it's because nothing's in the way. So, but then suppose I took this little foam block here and I held it in front of this left sensor here. See, it just popped a true. If you look over here on the Finch screen, you can see that that left obstacle is popped a true, meaning, hey, there's something in the way of the left obstacle. If I pull back, it goes to false again. Likewise, if I put the piece of foam in front of the right one, it goes to true. Pull back, goes to false. See? So the Finch really is seeing that there's things in front of it, both on the left and right side. We can see those variables directly changing up here. How would that work with a block of wood? Well, just like you'd think. Let me take the block of wood and put it in front here. So both obstacle sensors are reading false at the moment. But if I start to push the Finch towards the block like this, then suddenly they start to go true. Maybe one before the other. I had it slightly at an angle. But you can see that the Finch is seeing indeed there is something in front of it, and we can use this information in our code, maybe to stop or refuse to go forward or whatever. Pull the block away, they'll both go to false again. So the Finch is really seeing that things are in front of it, and that's pretty cool. Okay, let's look at a different sensor then. So we can turn those off. Let's look at the light levels. How about the light level on the left and the right? You can just use one or the other. So there's the light levels. They're giving us these weird numbers here, like 15 and 9. You know, what on earth could those mean? Well, let's just investigate. So what I'll do is let me just take my hand and just cover the Finch up, make it nice and dark. And you can see that the variables get really low there, 0 and 0 across the board. So it looks like 0 means darkness. And of course, if I lift up, they get really bright. Now I just happen to have a flashlight here. Let me just turn that on and I'll wave that over the Finch. And you can see, look how high the numbers get now. So they're like, if I hold it right over the right sensor here, almost at 100 or just at 93. Same with the left over here, 92. I can sort of illuminate them both if I hold the light sensor over it. And then when I pull the light away, they drop to sort of lower values again. So you can see it appears as if the light sensor gives us a number between 0 when it's really dark and 100 when it's really bright. So we can use that. But those are things either we need to jot down or just remember, but that's how the light sensor works in the Finch. I sort of have a lamp on here too. Let me just sort of orient that towards the Finch and see the numbers are sort of going up. And if I turn the Finch, turn the lamp off, see the numbers drop to a really small value. I'll turn them on again. So you see in that way, the Finch could very well even respond to light levels in your room. So your robot could be running and you could walk over and turn the switch off in your classroom and the Finch will see that that has happened. That's pretty cool. Okay. What about temperature? Oh, there it is right there. 22.5. Now I'm terrible at the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion, but I think that's about right for the room. And so what we need to do then is how can we mess with the temperature? Well, this is the temperature probe right here. And so we sort of need to heat that up a little bit. There's also a couple ways of doing that quickly. If I just put my hand over it and is it going up a little bit? Yeah, maybe not really. So got the next best thing. Matches. So let's just see what happens if I hold a little bit of flame near the Finch sensor. And don't do this at home. Don't go ruining our Finches. We want them back. But okay, here we go. Of course, it's not lighting. Anyone have a lighter? There we go. So now it's lighting. And if I hold that near the temperature sensor, going up. There it goes. Yeah, going up a lot. Okay. Of course, so what I do with a lit match now. Oh my God. Get this out of it. Get that out of there. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. And it's just about cooling down now. So of course your students will love to do this. And another way of doing it, which is totally disgusting, of course, is you can just breathe on it very close. So I'm just going to pick the finch up and hold it near my mouth. A little bit of exhale there. And as we suspected, hot breath. Okay, so there we go. So the finch indeed responds to temperature. That's kind of cool. Okay, and then the last one, of course, to look at maybe, see, we looked at the obstacles, we looked at lights. Let's look at the accelerations here. So there's X, Y, and Z accelerations, and I'll just say that the X-axis is always the direction the finch is traveling in. I believe Y is perpendicular to that, and Z is up and down. So if I just pick the finch up and start to shake it, you can see that the numbers are just kind of all over the place like that. And so you could sort of pick something like that up too. The poor finch is being shaken around. So that's the acceleration. So we can turn those off. And lastly, then there's the finch orientation here. So right now, the finch is reporting, excuse me, Mr. Cat, that it's level. But if I pick the finch up and sort of orient it up like that, sort of in between, and the beak is up. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So beak up, in between, level. Okay, now go the other way. In between, and beak down. So see, the finch sort of knows where it is oriented in space. So that, in a nutshell, is a tour of the sensors, and that's a bit of research to tell you what the sensors tell us. In the next video, then, we'll write some simple codes to explore how we can use these values to make the finch sort of an environment-aware robot.